Guy Garage, and this is going to be the final episode on the 65 Mustang Hack Job. So we got some things to do in this video before we can send this thing on out the door. So alright guys, this video has gotten really screwed up with the sound and the editor. I don't know what has happened. But at this point I had ordered some 1/4 inch billet wheel spacers to get our new wheels on the 65 Mustang. Unfortunately, all the footage is still here, but we're going to have really screwed up sound throughout this whole video, and it really kind of breaks my heart that this has happened, because I had put in over 2 weeks worth of work into this video itself. Rolled in my shop, such a hacked up mess. A set of wheels make a world of difference in a car, and I think that was the last final thing to get rid of its hack job identity. So, for the record, it's a 15x7 on the front with a 225/60/15. On the rear it is a 15x8 with a 245/60/15. As far as I know, the car still has the stock front spring, so the ride height is not altered in the front. The rear does have an air shock on it with about 30 pounds of air in it. Just to kind of give it a little bit. So this is one of them portions where we lost our audio. So imagine rumpity, 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 rumpity. And then we go zoom, zoom, zoom. And this is actually my first any kind of distance I drove with this car. It just drove around here at the little loop here at the shop multiple times. So just imagine zoom, 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 and then back this way. And once again, this is a portion where the audio is all screwed up. It's moved the audio clip into another position. So it's pretty much just idling. I'm pretty much talking about getting this car out and taking off on our first trip and hoping it'll make it, because I've not driven it any distance other than the loop there at the shop in the last clip that you seen. So from here, we're going to take off in the car. We're going to drive it around a little bit, put some break-in miles on it, put some fuel in it, and make sure everything's okay. So alright guys, our first drive went well. I didn't have any issues, the gas gauge worked, but there was one big problem, that the speedometer didn't work, and we're going to get into fixing that a little later in this video. But I'm just doing a walk around. We're going to pull it back in the shop. I talk about how it's nice not to have it sitting in the shop, and it's been a long time, but it's still outside and we still got stuff to fix. Like I said, it really breaks my heart, guys, that this video got so screwed up, because I had put so much effort into it for all this footage to be lost, because I do everything off my cell phone. So once I upload one of these videos, it's done editing, I delete all the previous footage. So there is nothing remaining where I could go back in and make this video exactly how it was before. So just try to enjoy the visual aspect of it, and I will come in here and narrate when I have to. So guys, at this point I done put the car back on the lift to start to fix the speedometer and do some other things like change the oil. It still had break-in oil in it, so I changed oil with 5 quarts of 10W30 VR1 Valvoline race oil and a Motorcraft FL1A filter. And I sit here and talk about how everything, you know, has still went well and what we got to fix. I always try to pre-fill my oil filters, so right here is me pre-filling the oil filter. I know it's not kind of nice to watch without the original context of it, but I always try to fill up my oil filters. It helps them prime a little better, tries to prevent a dry start. And at this point, I cut one of the oil cords and talked about how it was nice to have these 289 valve covers that had the little tall oil fill spout on them that you could cut top off oil quart and use as a funnel, and that it don't really go anywhere, and you could literally just use that on these Mustangs. And at this point, we're going to do our start after changing oil. And you can imagine rumpty noises, and we have oil pressure. So about 70 to 75 pounds sitting there at idle. When you rev it, it goes up over 80. And at this point, we're going to move it back to the other bay until we get the parts to fix the speedometer. And it's sitting here idling, going rumpity that you're not going to get to enjoy because the audio was all screwed up on the video. And at this point, since the speedometer wasn't working, I'm going to go ahead and put the correct 4-speed style cable in it. And I had a cable that I had bought for my 66 Mustang in a speedometer gear. So I tried to attempt to put that into his car first to see if it was a cable or gear issue causing the problem. And they did have the new cable that they had already put in this car previous to it coming to my shop run through the existing 3-speed speedometer cable hole. Well, if you don't know, the 4-speed cables go through the floor in a different position up on top of the transmission tunnel to give it a better shot at getting to the passenger side of the transmission. And that's stuff that I'm talking about in this segment. And at this point, I'm showing you that they had a 3-speed manual transmission or an automatic gear on the 4-speed transmission. If you don't know, the gears have a different cut on them. The 4-speed gear is reverse cut because the cable has to spin backwards because the cable pickup is on the passenger side. And if you do this and you mix the wrong speedometer gear with the wrong drive gear, you're going to have the ultimate cause of our problem, which is what I'm going to show you here, which is that the main speedometer drive gear inside the transmission is stripped out. Unfortunately, that was a problem caused by whoever installed the cable or gear setup into this car when they swapped it to a 4-speed transmission. But we'll get in a little later and you'll see how screwed up this thing really is. At this point, I had done drove it again, and the speedometer still didn't work. But I went ahead and gave the car a final bath before it was going to go home, while I was still waiting on the pieces and parts to fix it. So, just doing a little walk around, you know, more or less a final cleanup portion of this video. And at this point, we're back on the rack, and we have all the parts to fix the speedometer problem on the transmission. And I've done a video showing you exactly how to do it from this point. So I'll try to narrate it the best I can in the third hand, you know, multiple days later at the. But I sit here and I talk about uncovering problems that we didn't touch before, like the rear end and the transmission, and I didn't think it was a good idea to even mess with them. But I got a new tail shaft seal, I got a new pinion seal for the rear end, which was previously seeping in one of our other videos. And I got a seal kit for the transmission itself, which is the Velcro part right there. The correct speedometer clip for the 4-speed transmission cable, since we ran it correctly. And a new replacement drive gear, which that's Kentucky Mustang's part number for the small block transmission for the transmission itself. And here in just a moment, I'm going to fan out and give you the Velcro part number for the top loader 4-speed gasket set. So we had to pull the tail shaft off the transmission. So this kit right here includes your front bearing retainer, the tail shaft seal, and the top cover plate gasket. So you can get these at your local parts store for less than $15. So at this point, I'm showing you that I had to remove the drive shaft, that we're going to have to remove the cross member, and that the exhaust is not going to come out of it, but the parking brake's going to have to come loose. We're going to have to take the shifter off of it. And it's really a tight area to get in with all this stuff on there. The exhaust on this car, I put it on there for the long term, not something that would just come off or had a bunch of clamps or mess in it. So it is fully welded from front to back, along with the correct bolted on hangers. So I talk about how I hope that everything's going to come apart easy, and surprisingly, for once in life on this car, it actually does. It was a all-day job to put the speedometer gear into the transmission itself, but in the end, it fixed the speedometer problem. We fixed the rear end leak, and we fixed the tail shaft seal leak on the transmission. So we knocked out 3 birds in 1 stone in one fell swoop here. So at this point, we switched to a slow walk around, or walk under the car. I thought it was a pretty cool piece to add into the video, but like I said, we lost our audio. So it just lets you see everything from front to back, showing you the gear oil coming out of the transmission, and that it is full of metallic and sparkles. And I talk about how the transmission is probably on its last leg, and that every piece of this car has been a hack job since the beginning, which hasn't been a lie. It has been one thing after another, and it just proves that there was absolutely not one good part on this car from the beginning. And at this point, I had pulled the pinion seal out of the rear end, you know, the last remaining thing that we've not been inside, and you can see it is rather thick and running out super slow. I'm trying to show you all the metallic sparkles in it. You can kind of see the rings in the gear oil that looks like a tree ring. That is metallic and metal. And I talk about how this is really not good, and that everything is on a short lifespan at this point. And I know that he has a bunch of money in this car, but eventually it's going to have a rear end rebuilt and a transmission rebuild in it. And hopefully it'll last a long time. And I'm just kind of laughing about how that absolutely not one part of this thing has been good, and it has been a fight the whole time. And at this point, I had drilled a hole in the bottom of the rear end to put a drain plug in it because of the metallic glitter sparkles. I figured I'd better get all of it out as I could. I'm trying to show you how thick and gloopy that the gear oil is, and how metallic-y it looks in the light reflection. I can't emphasize enough that this stuff is not in the greatest shape, and you can literally see the metallic in the gear oil at this point where it's draining out. We got Lily doing a little cameo in her reflection in the gear oil, and she thought maybe it might have been something to eat until she smelled of it, and then she ran away. But you can see all the metal in that rear end, and it took like 3 hours for that thing to drain out. And at this point, I've done got the transmission cross member and the shifter off of it, and the parking brake assembly stuff. And I'm talking about how I kind of hope that the tail shaft will come out between the exhaust, but it probably won't. All it needs is enough room to get that gear off the end of the tail shaft. And once again, at this point, I show you that I was able to get the tail shaft off the transmission and have enough space that I could get that gear off. And we're going to zoom in on this speedometer gear, and you can see how it is literally U-shaped instead of being flat across the face like it's supposed to be. I also showed that it's got a snap ring, and that gear, you have to remove that snap ring to slide that gear off the tail shaft. And we're going to zoom in. I want to show you the correct 4-speed gear and the correct angle that it's supposed to have on it. Here is the old gear and the new gear next to each other compared. They are exactly identical, except for one is not completely worn. The replacements are for the early and the late style top loaders. So some of them have a little round check ball that goes in that little semicircle groove, and some of them have a clip that goes in a big square groove. You need to make sure that you put it in a proper position. If not, you will tear that gear up again and eat off both the gears and have no speedometer that works once again. And at this point, Daisy was saying her goodbyes and doing one last quality check on the car. And I was doing a little reminiscing about how the project's been and how this has really been here the whole time that Daisy's been here at the shop. She has really spent a lot of time in and around this car, and I know that she is going to miss it herself. So just enjoy the clips as we go. And I'm sitting here reminiscing about my time with the car. And unfortunately, like I said, all the footage is gone, guys. All the audio is messed up. But I'd went in here and put some of the factory stickers under the hood and stuff, and done a little extra cleaning. I'd ended up, I'd done a good cleanup on the interior, best I could, and reminiscing about Daisy in this car during this process. And I talk about everything, and here he is. He actually done a nice little snippet in this video, and like I said, we lost audio, but that is the owner of the 65 Mustang, and he seems like he's very happy. I'm just going to kind of let this clip play out, guys. I can't really narrate it, but I lost all the footage, and I know a bunch of you guys wanted to hear from him and wanted to see who actually owned the car, and that is the man right there. So hopefully he will take his car and enjoy it. That's him and his grandkids. Him backing the car out and actually driving it. There's one of his grandkids getting in the car. They leave in the car. Unfortunately, when he left in the car, the other two grandkids, the car that they drove, he took the key with him. So this turned into about a 45-minute ordeal where he got all the way home before he seen that everybody was trying to call him that he didn't leave the key for the other car. But just imagine, zoom.
Well, you need to take a show. We'll all just go up our show and hang out and shoot the bull. Yeah. Oh, that's that home shot now. The wheels look good on our.
So guys, I greatly apologize for this video. Unfortunately, I wish I could say it was my fault, but today is Christmas Day and I'm sitting here prepping this video for you guys. I want to preface this. I don't have the best track record with holidays, obviously. If you go back to the video where I traded Gran Torino off, you'll understand. But usually something horrible or bad happens on holidays or special days like birthdays and stuff like that. And that is the reason why I don't celebrate them. This is this year's gift, unfortunately, I do believe. Everything's went smooth up to this point. It is Christmas Day right now. And I'm here at the shop, and it's about 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I was sitting here working on another video of this, and I had shot the last little clip for this video, which I have now deleted and replaced with this one. And I was going to upload it to YouTube for you guys to see. Well, as I was kind of reviewing it, I noticed things were kind of screwed up, and I was like, this can't be. Because literally last night I went in there and edited this video. I had uploaded it to my files. Well, when I do that, considering I do everything on my cell phone, as I said earlier in this video, I delete all the existing short clips that I turn into a full-length video. And unfortunately they're gone, which has left us with this rather horrible, poor video that should have been a great video, and it was a great video until I had to clip it down to its absolute bare minimum and lost all the important information and footage in it. So that said, guys, I greatly apologize to you guys. You have been great throughout this whole series. So if you could, make sure you hit that like button on this video, share it with your friends. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and check this series out on this car. Not all these videos are all screwed up like this one is. If you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you guys. I look forward to all your comments down below. I'm sorry. This is this year's Christmas present. It's not a great one. Thank you for watching.